Hello there, this is Peter giving a lecture, a discussion on the ice ages and CO2, how the fluctuating CO2 caused the ice ages. So it's post-flood, after the flood of Noah. There's some trees in the landscape, then vigorous growth begins, and you get seed sown and trees growing up all over the globe, competing for light and CO2. As the forests grew tall, the CO2 in the atmosphere plummeted. So most trees died with the lack of CO2. In the equatorial forests, huge trees stood skeleton-like, with no leaves or sign of life. A few trees survived the CO2 plummet. In the high latitudes, it snowed and snowed and snowed because of the lack of CO2. The forests were entombed in ice. Here's the ice here entombing the forest. In the equatorial forests, the dead trees were beginning a new lease of life. The woodlice and the beetle come to the rescue. So here's your wee woodlice and there's your beetle. Woodlice multiplied. Number of woodlice is equal to A to the n, where n is the generation number and A is the amount of woodlice. Anyway, it's an expansive equation. So the woodlice multiplied, feeding on the deadwood, with moisture and a slowly increasing atmospheric CO2. Means the surviving trees can restart growing and sow seed. While in the high latitudes, the glaciers retreat a little. As the woodlice increases, more CO2 was in the atmosphere. As CO2 increased with more warmth, all deadwood is converted completely to CO2. This is the end of the first ice age. How long was the first ice age? Well, the time it takes a dead mature tree to be converted to CO2 by woodlice, say 100 years. If the first ice age is 100 years long, 1 metre of ice is added per year, giving 100 metres depth of ice in the high latitudes. These glaciers flow downhill, creating U-shaped valleys and other features like dunlins, etc. In the high latitudes, when CO2 increases, the ice sheets partially melt, and because the albedo reduces, they melt even more. So you get an increase in CO2. The ice is still flowing this way, but it retreats, even although it's flowing downhill still. So the ice sheets reduce their extent, and birch forests begin to grow in the places where the ice was, and so a birch forest is growing, and you get regrowth around the world. Meanwhile, in the equatorial forests, increasing CO2 means old surviving trees sow seed and create new generations of trees. The young trees have an age that varies from 0 years to 50 years, say. So you've got a wide age spectrum here for the young trees, up to 50 years old, and the old trees are older. They're the ones that sow the seed for the new forest to grow. So the young trees assimilate CO2 more slowly, and the atmospheric CO2 dwindles, so that there is a second ice age. More young trees survive the second ice age plummet, and ice sheets grow in extent in the high latitudes again. This age variation makes for a distribution of young and old trees. So the reduction in CO2 occurs slower than the previous first ice age, and CO2 goes to a minimum non-zero value. Because it is non-zero, the forests can acclimatise more, with fewer trees dying and more distribution of old and young trees. So the first ice age, we'll say 95% died. Second ice age, 90% of the forest died. Third ice age, 70% died, etc. The CO2 in the atmosphere is still varying, but more slowly, so the action of the ice ages is to equate the decomposition and growth of forests around the world. And it does this by the action of woodlice and intensive growth of forests. So here's my email address if you want to give me an email. Helped by Brother Ian on camera duty. And we've got YouTube, a couple of lectures on YouTube if you're interested. Fermat's last theorem and Noah's flood theory. If you type in these in the search bar, you'll get there. Well, this is the end of the lecture. Thanks for watching, and take care, and God bless.